welcome back to Reds in Europe. It is the review show where Liverpool took on Ajax yesterday and walked away with a 1-0 win. Kind of scrappy, bit nervous, but Mick, how are we feeling about last night, mate?
Made up with it, to be honest. Was quite nervous going into it, but seeing the start 11, I was quite happy with it. I was happy Jones got a little start, happy Millie got another start as well. And we made hard work of it in some bits, but overall, we got the win away from home. So can't complain, really, can you?
Not really, mate. Not at all. Not like you just said. What we spoke about on the preview show with the nerves surrounding the starting lineup, and obviously with all the issues that have gone over the weekend, it was nice to see the team perform the way they did. But before we do get into that in a little bit more detail, mate, I've got a little question for you again related to Liverpool versus Ajax. Bit of trivia for you, so see what you can do here. You ready?
Go on.
So there are 5 people that have played for both Ajax and Liverpool. Can you name them all?
Oh, shit, the bed. Christian Poulsen.
Is 1.
Gary Littmanen.
Is 2.
Oh, fuck. I seen someone post this the other day, and I've just completely gone from my head. Oh, fucking hell. Any clues?
Okay, yeah. So one of them was a midfield maestro.
Oh, well, I've just got another one. Suarez,
there you go. He wasn't the midfield maestro, obviously.
Yeah. It just came to me. I was thinking Ajax. I just thought saw him in the Ajax kit. Midfield maestro.
Yeah, didn't do a lot of running because of his weight, but legend either way.
Oldish legend.
Yeah.
Was it Jan Molby?
Yeah, there you go. So that's number 4. Legendary of a player. Well, he didn't really need to move. He could spray a pass. He had the vision, didn't he? He was incredible. One more.
Oh, fuck.
He was a winger.
A good winger, or?
Depends how you look at it. He had his good games and he had his bad games. Still playing for Holland, funnily enough.
Oh, fucking hell, Ryan Babel.
Right, mate. Yeah, well done. 5 out of 5. There you go. With a little bit of help from me. That's all good, mate. But anyway, so let's go back to last night's game. So 1-0 win. Matchday 1 of the Champions League. You'll take them all day, wouldn't you, mate? And we might as well just start at the biggest talking point of the game was the performance of the defence. Now, obviously, there has been question marks since the derby about what type of formation he'd play, who would start in defence. We pretty much, obviously, in our preview show, we did assume that Matip would be fit. But obviously, we did say in the show as well that there's a possibility that he wouldn't be fit. So we knew that it would probably be Fabinho and Gomez. Mate, Fabinho was absolutely outstanding, wasn't he?
No, he was fucking amazing. Like, to be honest, like I had my doubts, but like when he played last time against Chelsea, I was thinking, Timo Werner, pacey striker up against him, he might struggle, and he proved me completely wrong. And since then, you can't doubt him because he's just got. I think Klopp said that he enjoys playing there, which is you can see that because he loves putting his foot into a tackle. Like he absolutely loves it. And I think having him centre back gives him more license to do that. I think he is good as well, especially when the teams are counter-attacking, is getting his foot in. Like he's got those long legs, and he's quite precise in his tackling. So he does stem a lot of the flow of the opposition attack. So for me, he was man of the match by a long way. No, I put a poll up last night as well. Who you thought man of the match was, and he got like 91% of the votes out of 700 votes. Is runaway leader, and you know what, Gomez probably didn't get the credit he deserved because I thought he was boss as well. Like 23-year-old lad having to come in as like the senior boy, like even BT Sport fellas were going, oh, he's like the senior guy back there now, and he was like a bit shaky at first. That little bit with Adrian ran out, but that was Adrian's fault really. He should have stayed where he was and let Gomez have the opportunity to pass it back.
Yeah, but true.
He grew into the game definitely. Like second half, he was starting to do those rampaging runs forward that he just does, where there's no pass on. He goes, "Fuck it, I'm just going to take it into midfield myself." And it was just between the two of them, they were great. Like play Ajax had quite a few chances, but when you've got makeshift back two like that, who were starting to form a partnership and you've got Adrian and goal, it's always going to be more tricky than it needs to be.
Yeah, and before the game started, we predicted like, oh, we'll go 3-1 or get a couple of goals and stuff like that. But it was cagey, wasn't it? And I think what you just mentioned there was Fabinho having a man of the match performance. I think everybody needed a response from the derby, not because of the performance in the derby was poor, because it really, really wasn't. It's just everybody needed that. Everyone was pissed off about what had happened in the derby, and everyone wanted an answer and stuff like that. And everyone wanted to sort of show that, Liverpool is bigger than just one player. And, even though Virgil van Dijk's a massive part of this, this team, and he, like you said, mate, he's one of the reasons why we have been so successful last couple of years. But you've shouted out Gomez. We've got to shout out Andy Robbo as well, because Andy Robbo was just an animal going forward, an animal in defence. Nothing was getting past him. Sum up Andy Robbo's performance, mate.
Oh, fucking boss. Like, if Fabinho went in a different position like he was and performed so well, it would have been Andy Robbo for me, because he was just it was just relentless. Like, he was just, they'd be counter-attacking towards the end, and he'd just pick it up and go, right, fuck this, and run the whole length. There was times where he could have had a couple of shots himself, but he played a couple of people instead. Like, he played solid in for one, and Salah should have scored, really. But he was just, it's like, I looked at some of the stats earlier today, and it was like the average positions on the pitch, and Andy Robbo was higher than Mo Salah in average positions, which is mad, really. Like, he's usually high, but out of the two, it is usually Trent that's higher out of the two fullbacks. So maybe that was a tactic Klopp wanted to employ against these, but he was just led by example, and he was just great in every aspect last night. He was boss.
Yeah, he was, mate. And I think there's a lot of level-headedness about that lad, and I think it's the British style coming out of him as well, because Millie had the same thing, didn't he? Millie is 34 years of age, and he covered, I think it was something like 12 kilometres yesterday, which is more than any other player. And there's some really young, fast, talented lads on both sets of teams there, and for him to come out on top was brilliant. I thought he had a really, really good game. I thought Mane looked really, really good in that first half as well. I mean, he looked good in both halves, obviously, but when we were pushing for that first goal, Mane was certainly, again, showing why he's arguably our most important player.
Yeah, and you look at the first goal, it was all from his to throw in. Really, he's got no right to, like, the way he turned that player and just literally turned him inside out. Fair enough, the resultant cross, whatever that was just he's kicked the floor, and then it's gone in our favour. And it's just what, like, you win some, you lose some. It's just that kind of luck. We didn't get any luck last game in the derby. We got a huge chunk this time, so that ended up being the deciding goal in the game. But apart from that, like, Mane was boss. Like, I put Mane in there. Like, I always struggle when I do polls on Twitter, because you're always going to put one who people go, why the fuck are you putting him in for? So put Mane in, someone was like, Mane, with like exclamation mark, question mark. It's like, well, actually, he was actually one of our best players in the game. Like, it was just that we had quite a few who were really good, but I thought he was our outball most of the time, like down that left-hand side, and you could tell they were doubling up on Mane every time, because they knew he's our pacey danger man, and it proved to be one of the moves that he scored from one of those incisive little jigs he does on the side.
Did indeed, mate. I mean, we can't obviously go through this with complete, hashtag rose-tinted glasses. We've got to talk about sort of like the bad side of the game. Like you mentioned before, there was a little bit of a mix-up in the first couple of minutes with Adrian and Gomez. But to be fair to Adrian, made a nice point-blank save, didn't he? When the ball had come across the 6-yard area, and that Ajax had a bit of a clear-cut chance, and he sticks a foot out and he saves that. So that's a pretty much decent save. But Klaassen had a really, really good shot that had obviously hit the inside of the post and gone back out, which we were very lucky about. Tadic lobs the keeper, and Fabinho does a James Milner, clears it off the line. I thought it was in, mate. I don't know about you.
Yeah, well, when it goes over the keeper like that, you're always thinking that he's not going to get it in time, and he literally just by the skin of his teeth he does. But you know what? I thought Adrian was okay. Like, I don't know if he set the bar so low that any slightly good performance makes it seem like it's loads better than it actually is. But I thought he was, barring that one where he came out with Gomez, and I don't know why he's done that. There's no need for him to come out there. And then the one where he's took a half a second too long and someone closes him down, and they end up clipping it, and it could have went in. and imagine that goes in. He's just like, and I think he you can tell Klopp's probably told him, don't take any risks back there. Like the amount of times he did play it back to him and he just put his foot through it. I was like, well, I'm happy for you to do that if it means we can try and get a clean sheet, which we haven't had since, like, I think it was like Chelsea game, wasn't it, in September, where we 2-0 win, if you don't count the Carabao Cup game. So it's been a long time since we kept a clean sheet. So I think getting that over the line with a makeshift back two and Adrian in goal was nice, and I think Adrian done all right, if you like, all in all.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think, again, it doesn't raise any question marks for the weekend, does it, against Sheffield United? I think, it's a decent performance. But, again, we've got to credit the guys that were in front of him. Gini was up and down during the game. He had his good moments and his bad moments. Hendo, I thought, was brilliant when he came on in that second half. Curtis Jones, a little bit quiet, obviously, but it's daunting thing for him, isn't it? Getting his Champions League debut starting, match day one. He probably didn't expect it. But, I think it's just great for his development, the fact that he's getting those games early. Because do you remember when we spoke to Jay Spearing and he mentioned about getting his debut against PSV in the Champions League, and he was just like, he was overwhelmed by it, and tried to live up to the atmosphere and stuff like that on the occasion. But it's not going to do Curtis Jones any harm whatsoever, is it?
No, it's just that you could see he was trying to get on the ball, and he was trying a few passes where, when he was playing in like the cup games, he wasn't really doing. Like, he was trying to force things and trying to make stuff happen, and like you said, like, being a bit overzealous. And sometimes if it goes against you, especially against the really good Ajax side, they can punish you and score goals. And there was a couple of times where he gave it away, and then he ended up chasing backwards to try and atone for his error. But he's a 19-year-old kid. At the end of the day, like, he's got a lot of learning to do, and the fact that he's in and around this starting 11 and getting started by Klopp shows you how highly Klopp rates him. So I don't think it doesn't do him any problems to be put into a game like that. It's going to help him wonders in for his confidence.
Indeed, mate. Speaking of Klopp, I thought he managed the game really, really well. Given the fact that we'd gone 1-0 up, and sort of like the changes that he'd made were very reasonable changes. You know what I mean? It was sort of like setting the tempo, and he did Hendo to come in and do the Hendo job that we all know and love, the role that he does now. But one of the things I think did raise a few eyebrows, certainly for myself, is when he makes his changes, you can sort of anticipate what he's going to do, can't you? He'll do the odd one. But the changes he made he made 3 changes at once. It was sort of like, what is going on here? But I was thinking, well, it's okay to do that at maybe 3-1 or 3-0 or 4, when you're quite comfortable. But to do that at 1-0 and have the faith and the structure to swap the 3 for the 3 was quite, like, fucking hell, wasn't it?
Bold. Yeah, very bold. Like, I thought when I think I seen initially Minamino getting ready. I think it showed him. Then I thought, oh, right, sounds good. He's bringing Firmino off to give Firmino a rest. Then when it panned back, it was all 3, and I was like, well, he's not going to bring off the whole front 3, is he? And it turned out it was. I was like, so especially at 1-0 away from home, you do start panicking a little bit, thinking, is this the wrong move? Especially when they're really good at, like, counter-attacking and stuff. You need to be completely on it as a front 3 unit defensively. But they were all like, Jota and Minamino especially. Like, Shaqiri put in a good shift as well, but though between those two, they could have scored one each. Like, they were just busy, like, great running and closing down, little interchanges and stuff like that. They were both bossing. Like you said, with Jones, doesn't do them any doesn't do them any harm, like, coming into a game like that. And I've seen loads of people since then on Twitter saying that Jota needs to start on Saturday. So for me, he's great. Like, him and Minamino, boss. Like, they just need, in a season like this season where it's going to be really condensed, we're going to need all of them. So it's promising signs.
It is promising signs, mate. And, like, I absolutely loved the way Minamino played last night. I really did. I thought when he come on, like you've just said, he was really getting in those pockets. He was fighting for the ball, a bit like a dog with a bone. He was chasing down everything, which I really loved. Shaqiri had a couple of nice little through balls for him as well. Like you said, it worked really well together. But I was so excited for Diogo Jota to be on, because I do really, really like him. I just think he adds that extra little bit of dynamic to something that we might be missing. And like you said, I've always said I'd love to see him in the middle. You said obviously predominantly on the left-hand side. He can do both. But I think now is the time where he's definitely ready to start games for Liverpool. without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, he already has anyway. Like, but what I mean is, one of the things I just love is the fact that we're bringing off the front three, and usually when we shit ourselves thinking, oh, we've not got that strength in depth, he certainly answers that question, doesn't he? Of at least we've got one that can come on and be what we need again.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't get the words out tonight, mate. I think I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm just so happy at the minute. I'm thinking, fuck me, I can't even get the bloody words out.
No, he's like, for me, he doesn't. It's because he doesn't look too flashy. Like, I don't think he doesn't look as rapid as Mane, so it's quite deceiving when he is, because he's really quick.
Yeah.
He doesn't do many tricks on the ball, like maybe a Salah does, or Mane is quite tricky as well. So he looks ordinary for me, but really, he's boss. Like, he's quick, he's direct, he'll run at you. You don't know what way he's going to go because he's good with both feet. He's not going to do like step overs and all kinds of that, but in terms of like driving at defences and setting up a player or having a shot, he's absolutely ideal, and it's mad out that we got him. I know we paid 45 million, but for a 23-year-old or whatever, 23, 24, he's literally at the best place in the best club in the world to do his development, and I think he could go on to be as good as he wants to be. He could literally just be our next Mane, like if we want to, like Ajax with their like backup factory of players players out, then he could be one of them for us. I know we paid a lot of money for him, and that's yet to remains to be seen at how that develops in terms of if we've overpaid or not, if depending on how well he does. But I've got no qualms about the price we paid for Diogo Jota, because he can go on to be great, even just this season, if he carries on playing like he did last night anyway.
Yeah, he looks hungry, doesn't he? He looks like he's really excited to be part of the club, which,
yeah,
again, it's going to be good. Quick word on Ajax, mate. Obviously, they're in a group with ourselves, Atalanta, and I can't even pronounce it, mate. How do you pronounce it?
Midgetland, I think.
Midgetland, I don't know. No disrespect. We'll get it right for next week anyway.
Yeah, we'll try and get someone on to fucking teach us how to say it or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, again, Ajax, I do think they can get out of the group along with Liverpool. Atalanta have been fantastic though. But Ajax showed last night that they've got the potential to get at teams.
So good. Honestly, so good. I think Atlanta won 4-0, didn't they? Which you expect, obviously, like no disrespect to Midtjylland, but they're not expected to do anything really in this group with the other teams that are in there. I'm looking forward to see Ajax versus Atalanta, because that'll be a good barometer of how. I think that'll be probably a high scoring game, maybe like a couple of like a score draw or something like that. But Ajax last night were boss. Like, they were like our press, they were sometimes just completely bypassing it because they was quick in triangles incisively.
Yeah,
it was nice to watch, and if you were a neutral watching, you think these are really good. And if there was ever a time to beat the Liverpool team, it was last night, really, with that back two and Adrian in goal, and having Curtis Jones starting, Milner starting, players who aren't predominantly in the starting 11. They've probably seen that and thought this is our time to go and cause an upset and beat the big dogs. But more credit to us and Jurgen Klopp that we had those players out there, and we still managed to be a really good, like you said, Ajax team.
Absolutely right. So obviously it puts us second in the group at the minute. Obviously it's too early to have a look at and make your judgments about certain things and that. But we look forward to match day 2 next week. It's going to be a nice birthday present for me if we get 3 points. Just going to drop that hint there, mate. My birthday that next Tuesday, so come on. But yeah, mate, we'll be back for another Reds in Europe. Obviously, try and get it out just after the Sheffield United game. And yeah, look forward to it. Match day 2 is right around the corner. There's no waiting around this season. Probably one of the only good things to come out of all this shit, mate, is that we don't have to wait much longer for another Champions League game. So match day 2 is on the 27th of October. And Mick, what do we say? What's the line?
See you next time.